Hey guys, alright, so this is part 3 of 3 videos on formation of Earth. So this video is just going to strictly focus on the plate boundaries. So we talked about the parts of the Earth, we've talked about the rock cycle, we've talked about the plates, the tectonic plates and the convection currents. Now we need to focus in on the types of boundaries that will result from these plate shifts. So we have a divergent, a convergent, and a transform boundary. So we're going to start off with the convergent boundary. So there's kind of two types of convergent boundaries. They're both converging towards each other, so the plates are moving towards each other, but there's going to be two possible outcomes, okay? So the first outcome is that one plate, the oceanic plate, so that's the plate on the left, all right, is coming towards a continental plate, which is the plate on the right. What happens is as they approach each other, the oceanic plate is denser, and so it's going to do something called subduct or subduction. It's going to sink below the continental plate, okay? So that's what you see in this diagram. You see one plate going down and the other plate going this way, okay? That's called subduction, but they are converging. They are coming towards each other. It's just we have two different types of crust. Oceanic is denser. It's going to sink. Okay, what you're going to find are typical examples would be mountain ranges that are along a coastline. That's what you're going to see with a convergent boundary like this. Other type of convergent boundary is going to be a collision. So I want you to think about two cars driving the same, like imagine two of the same exact cars going at the same exact speed, and they're going to collide towards each other. Neither one is really going to give too much. So the plates, neither one's going to sink. They're both continental plates. And as they converge, neither sinks. Instead, they're going to crumple forward and sort of become like a mountain range. So what you see right in this area is the Himalayan mountains. That's an example of a convergent boundary that results from a collision. Okay, so the first type was a subduction. One sinks. That's mountains along a coastline. The second type is a convergent because of a collision, and that's going to be mountains inland, like the Himalayas. All right, second type of boundary is called a divergent boundary, so it's diverging away from, so it's going away from each other. And right in the center, so what happens is the magma gets pushed up, and then it's going to sort of form like this little ridge. So not like a huge, humongous mountain, but like little ridges, okay? So like mini mountains, kind of. So the magma pushes up. It's going to kind of pile up here, but it's going to push itself in. It's going to force the plates to move away from each other. And a prime example of this is something called the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, which is this like sort of area right here down the center of the Atlantic Ocean. Okay, kind of looks like a little, like a stitches. But right there, that's a place of diverging boundary, so it's moving apart. Okay. Finally, we have a transform boundary. So this is a boundary where the plates are actually scraping past each other. And when that scraping occurs, it's going to have an effect. And the effect we typically feel is an earthquake. So an example of it, this is the San Andreas Fault, which is in California. If you hear about California having lots of earthquakes or whatever, this is the fault line. So we've got one plate here and one plate here, and they're scraped past each other. And that creates enough issues that it causes earthquakes. Okay. If you have any questions, please make sure you ask your teacher. Do go back and look through all the notes, the different sections, and sort of piece together how you would represent this in terms of notes. Okay. And again, make sure you ask your teacher anything that you are confused about, or seek out further knowledge and look it up. Google or whatever, and find a reliable site and see what it shows you. And I can't wait to see you in class.